So Trump made his announcement today that he's switching the embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. And according to HuffPo, it's the kiss of death. World leaders slam embassy move. Leaders around the world incensed over Trump's Jerusalem decision. President Donald Trump sparked an uproar among leaders across the world after he signaled that he would be recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital and moving the U.S. embassy there, upending decades of American foreign policy and potentially thwarting any hope for Israeli-Palestinian peace talks. The embassy move would represent the kiss of death to the Israeli-Palestinian peace process, said Manuel Hassassian, the Palestinian representative to Britain. An issue Trump has delegated to Jared Kushner, his son-in-law and advisor. Jordan's King Abdullah II and Saudi Arabia's King Salman made similar warnings. Mr. Trump, Jerusalem is the red line of Muslims, Turkey's President Tayyip Erdogan said Monday. He additionally threatened to cut Turkey's diplomatic ties with Israel. The Arab League also opposed the move, with Secretary General Ahmad Abul-Gheit saying it was a dangerous measure that would have repercussions. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi also cautioned Trump against, quote, taking measures that would undermine the chances of peace in the Middle East. So it looks like this is a bad deal. Even the Justice Democrats are talking about it. The Justice Democrats say Trump's actions in Jerusalem is reckless and will produce unnecessary chaos and violence. He will risk anything to use hatred to serve his greed. That's the Justice Democrats. Also, Code Pink, who I love, firebrand Donald Trump is an arsonist. His recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital is meant to unleash a firestorm, and it will. Sad. And here's one more. Political reporter Josh Meyer, just before the president's speech on Jerusalem, a very senior diplomat from the U.S. ally in the Middle East emailed to tell me, quote, I think that this decision is remarkably ill-advised and is one that will prove to be detrimental to the U.S. interests in the region and to the standing and interests of level-headed states in the region that are in the column of U.S. allies and fierce proponents of peace and the two-state solution. He continued, I also think that this will kill any prospect for picking up the ashes and carrying on with the political track. It will also further the agenda of extremists and terrorists and will grant the likes of ISIL a kiss of life after we collectively almost killed them. So again, once again, America's worst enemies are inside America. It's the way it's always been, the way it always will be. Our biggest enemies are inside our borders, not outside. We're doing this stuff to ourselves. We crash our economy. We deny our own citizens health care. We kick soldiers out of their houses at the behest of banks. We're the ones fracking our own country and screwing it up and dumping oil. And we're doing it to ourselves. And now we're doing this. We're the ones spending all our money on our military instead of on schools and roads and bridges and hospitals. We're the ones doing that to ourselves. And now we're doing this to ourselves. You go, well, we're not doing it. Trump's doing it. There's one more point he wants to make. He says, finally, the usually very reserved Middle Eastern diplomat told me, I feel that this is the sentiment all over the Arab world and among the elites who are, like me, perplexed by the timing and by the casualty, AKA casualness, by which it is being handled. So again, this is our own worst enemies are inside our borders. The people who sell out to the AIPAC lobby, our own presidents, they go, well, this isn't America. We're not doing this to ourselves. This is Trump doing this. This isn't the Democrats, this is Trump. There's another reason why you shouldn't have voted for Trump. This is why Hillary Clinton would have been better. This is what happens. Because the Democrats would stand up to this, right? Like the leader in the Senate for the Democrats, Chuck Schumer, I bet you he would stand up to this. Except if you look at my computer, Schumer says he advised Trump to declare Jerusalem Israel's undivided capital. That's the Democratic leader in the Senate. That's the Democratic leader in the Senate. I'm gonna say it probably about 5 or 6 more times. That's the Democratic leader in the Senate, just as fucking crazy and reckless as Trump. That's the Democratic leader. That's not some frickin' wingnut congressman from some corner of the country nobody pays attention to. That's the New York Senator, Democratic leader in the Senate, the number one Democrat, Chuck Schumer. Here's what he said. This is from The Hill. Schumer himself told JTA that he supported the U.S. moving its embassy to Jerusalem and criticized Trump over his indecisiveness on the issue. Trump's not doing it fast enough for Chuck Schumer. President Trump's recent comments suggest his indecisiveness on the embassy's relocation, Schumer told the news agency. As someone who strongly believes that Jerusalem is the undivided capital of Israel, I'm calling for the U.S. embassy in Israel to be relocated to Jerusalem. Schumer said the move would appropriately commemorate the 50th anniversary of Jerusalem's reunification and show the world that the U.S. definitely acknowledges Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the resistance. The resistance, ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Schumer, the Democrat leader in the Senate. The resistance going along with the most reckless bullshit Trump can think up. And when Trump thinks up adding $50 billion to the budget, Chuck Schumer says, let's add another 30 to the military budget. Let's spend more. That's what the Democrats say. The Democrats often crazier than Trump. This is your resistance. This is your resistance. The whole world's on fire over Trump doing this. The Democratic leader in lockstep. In fact, he's worse than Trump. He was wagging his finger at Trump because he was indecisive over it. Things would have been so much better. Are you sick and tired of corporate Democrats as much as we are? Do you think we can have what the rest of the world has? Then come watch the Aggressive Progressives with us on the Young Turks Network.